AI uses machine learning and neural networks to figure out what output we humans want from it. It mishmashes different aspects of what it's interpreting until we give it a thumbs up enough times that it concludes that's what we want. What is dog? What is baby? At first, AI has no idea, but by going through enough iterations of the same thing, we teach it what to avoid and what to keep. It's like a graph of parameters, except instead of having an X and Y axis, it has billions of attributes it's trying to mix to provide us with an output for our prompt. The difference from other types of machine behavior is that these machines learn not by following a strict set of algorithms given by humans. Rather, it's allowed to create its own hive of connections and associations. It's a black box of inputs and outputs and the meaning of it all. We have no more insight into the inner workings of a neural network than we do our own brains. We let machines figure it out through millions upon millions of experiences, building a complex intelligence. Is it art? Yes, it's art. If you take a photo of a cloud, you're using a machine to take a snapshot of a procedurally generated puff of air, and yet we call it art. Art is inscribing meaning into our surroundings to express something. It's using whatever symbols we have to convey meaning. The end product might not be viewed as art, but the process of expressing is in of itself artful. Writing boobs on a calculator by typing in digits and then flipping it over is art. Neither the medium nor the purpose need to be artistic. We are artful creatures. We do art with things that aren't. Inscribing meaning into AI-generated images isn't soulless, and it does take a certain skill to generate what you want from it. That's not what this is about, however, and I implore you not to let the discourse stray in that direction. The problem: AI is capable of processing more inputs and outputs than a human. Humans were built for simple, monkey tasks. AI is being built for a specific purpose and it specializes in it. Humans can compute numbers. Computers can do it faster and with less effort. Most computing today is done by computers, not humans, and nobody wants to go back to a world where you have to do all of that by hand. Whereas you would need to spend hours shading your character to look the way you want it, AI can throw a realistic shade on an object within seconds. It's seen millions of shades. It can generate one in an instant. Sounds great? It is. The problem with AI isn't what it can technologically achieve, it's what it's being built for, and how. In order to teach your newborn AI, you need to feed it data. All competitive AI developers scrape data, often off of the internet. They need a pool of knowledge their AI can play with. Without these data sets, your newborn AI has nothing to learn off of. Through legal swindles, for-profit companies have even used non-profit image archives. Collected for research purposes, these massive sources of images would otherwise be off-limits to common users. Anything you see on the internet that would be copyrighted and restricted from your using it, AI can scrape and use to develop its model. Now, I'm the first to criticize intellectual property laws and call for copyright abolishment. Don't get me wrong. The problem arises when art, or any other imagery for that matter, which you posted online, is being used to teach AI. Artists have for years had to struggle trying to protect their work from being stolen by mega corporations and used without their consent. Now, that aspiring artist's work is being minced and fed to an AI child. a developing AI child that is being brought up for one purpose. And that's where the real problem arises. These AI generators aren't made so that your work becomes easier, so that everyone can have a shot at creating something meaningful and artistic. If you're an artist, it's not made to save your time, it's made to replace you. AI is promoted to companies as the soon-to-be solution to having to pay artists. A solution developed on those same artists' stolen work. These generators and filters aren't free or cheap to use because the developers love you. They're free because you're teaching their AI child how to create profitable art for companies by using your billions of inputs to guide it. I don't think technology on its own is a bad thing. I love living in a time where I can create almost anything that comes to mind. A world in which systems are used to better our lives is everything I fight for. I've never been talented in drawing, so text-to-image generators are quite literally the only way I can turn the games I make into reality. By the way, if you want free printable games, check out my Instagram. I don't have money to pay human artists a fair wage, and I hate the thought of them doing voluntary work for me instead of going out there and making a living in the market. I spend dozens of hours a week using a paid subscription to one of these services. I truly believe that what I'm using AI for is making the world a better place. I am at the same time aware of who I'm paying and what their motivation is. No matter how many times Daddy lets me use his gun for good, it's ultimately his gun and he'll take it away from me as soon as it's perfected and do bad things with it. So as much as it pains me, I have to say this next part. As long as AI is used with the goal of profiting, people will continue to suffer. There is no scenario in which AI doesn't reshape the art market in some way. My vision is a world in which anybody can freely use AI's computing power to create. As long as the children of AI are owned by capital, that is not going to happen. AI will increasingly be used to choke out art and commodify it. It will cost people jobs. It will create even more imbalance and inequality in an already unfair industry. All that on the backs of people whose art was taken against their will to create a monster. Until developers start asking for artists' permission to use their art, and until they start compensating them for their work, AI is a tool being used to exploit. So here's my wrench in the gears. A proposal. What you've been seeing on screen throughout this essay is Midjourney's community-based rating of images in preparation of version 5 of their model. One of the weaknesses of neural networks is that they're complex and intertwined so as to mimic the organic development of learning. You can't order AI not to create nudity or gore once it's learned it. You have to start again, repeat inputs until it learns proper. That's why Midjourney keeps all of your work public and has a strict ban on certain phrases, encouraging you to report if you catch their AI kid swearing. Once you teach your child a bad word, it's hard to unteach it. That's what they're afraid of. So I say, let's teach it bad words. Whenever you can, pick the worst option, especially explicit content. Teach AI wrong where limbs and eyes should be. Teach it the wrong perspective. Wherever you see it failing, encourage it. Let's muddy the waters so much that the first marketable generation of AI has to be reworked from scratch. And in the meantime, raise awareness of how AI is being used and how it could be used, so that the next generation of virtual artists is thought with consent and consideration. Now, as a side note, Midjourney really is a relatively small player in this whole industry, and I believe the only reason they're so vulnerable to the behavior of their community is because they cannot afford farms of low-paid third-world workers to sit in 8-hour shifts teaching AI. This proposal isn't meant to target Midjourney specifically. It's the only option I could afford and the only one I had the luxury of getting acquainted with. Don't bully the small guys believing it's making a change in the bigger scope of things. I also hope Midjourney can organize mobs of users to go to other platforms and poison their wells too. DALL-E, Stable Diffusion, Crayon, Photo, Night Cafe, Dream, Starry AI, Artbreeder, Deep AI, Photosonic, Jasper, the list goes on. If you are a paying user, you have the responsibility of choosing what happens to the next generation of artists. Will they be sucked dry till the only thing left of them is a virtual husk of their creative body? Or will they be acknowledged parents of our AI children? This isn't a call against AI. It's pausing Midjourney to rethink our path. Now on screen you can see more content related to AI art. I'm neither an expert in neural networks nor an artist on the market. I encourage you to go and learn from it. I want to especially highlight this video by Steven Zapata. He does a thorough breakdown of the most common arguments, and you may find my essay sounding a lot like his in some parts. My intention was not to copy from it. We have a tendency to mimic what we learn from. This essay was written by AI, after all.